Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Axel Anderson here, and we're back for another development vlog. So I have a few things that I want to talk to you guys about today, and then hopefully we can talk about some of the stuff that I want to get done before we launch in February. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the level detail and the level design. So maybe you guys can notice that we have some more trees and there's more detail to the world, and it feels more like a forest. So we'll talk about some of the stuff that I created to add this feeling. So one of the biggest things are these new trees. I don't know what they're called, but they're bushier and they're more luscious. So before and previously, we only had these spruce trees, and the leaves and the branches actually only start about quarters of the way up. So what this created was sort of an empty feeling because you could see super far and it just didn't seem like a forest. So these trees definitely help to limit your vision, which sounds like it might be a bad thing, but it actually creates a much more beautiful world. The other things that we added were these rocks and these tree branches. They're kind of scattered everywhere. It's not like it doesn't give a super cluttered feel, but it creates a more realistic, um, I don't know, visual. So it really helps. So the other thing that we added were these mountains, which are super high. Previously, if you could imagine these mountains, it was just the sky. So standing up on this small little hill, you could see extremely far, and you were higher from anything that you could see. So it felt like the world was just completely flat, and I really didn't like that. The other thing that we added that is a great visual is the new snow. We've added real snowflakes that actually fall on the ground and they stay for a little bit. And also these snowflakes actually fall randomly and in a cool pattern. So it's really nice. That's pretty much it for visuals. I think before we didn't have these, or we had some of these pine bushes, but we've added some more. We've added some red ones too. It's just helping give a little more variation in color. Speaking of variation in color, what we're going for now is more of a beginning of winter look rather than a deep winter in the north. So, and what I mean by that is we've added a lot more grassy textures, like this one, which is really beautiful. Also just a drier dirt, which looks really great, and then we've decreased the amount of snow textures, and like I said before, it just creates a way better variety of colors and looks, which just gives the world a better dynamic. As you can see here, it just looks super great. Another part of the visuals is we've added some blur. It's a radial blur that goes just on the edges of your screen. So you might be able to notice it now, but when I zoom in, you can really notice it because it spreads even farther through to the center of the screen. And this just it makes it look like you're actually focusing on what you're zooming in, which is it's really cool, especially for gunfights, because usually you can see one guy and everyone else is blurred out, and it just makes it feel like you're focused on that guy, which is really great. So I don't want to die on this video, so I'm just gonna collect some materials to create a fire. Okay, so this gives me a chance to show you guys a new thing as well. There are now crafting timers. If you can look in the bottom left, this slider will only come up when you're crafting something, and it will showcase the the duration that it's gonna take. This is just another something to make a challenge, so everything's not instant anymore. It's another dynamic that's gonna make Northern Regime just a little smoother around the edges. So I'll just start this fire right now. Okay, so we're gonna talk about crafting now. I guess I already started that off, but so before, and since this is a build before, you can see that there are quite a bit of things to craft, and they're all here. But in the new version of Northern Regime, you're gonna have to find blueprints to be able to craft specific items. So if you want to craft a rifle, you're gonna have to find a rifle blueprint. On top of that, to craft a rifle now, you're not just gonna be able to click like let's see where the rifle is down here. You're not just going to be able to click it and craft it. You're actually going to have to craft the handle first, the trigger first, the barrel first, and the shaft first before you can craft the actual rifle. So you're going to create all the parts and then you're going to put it all together, which I think is another really cool dynamic that you don't see in a lot of survival games. And if you guys didn't know, well, I mean, I've talked about this before, but we're really trying to do something different with Northern Regime. You know, there's so many survival games out there that I think it's necessary to try and do something different. Also, another thing is our new fire model. So previously it was just the logs that you see now in the middle, but now in this updated version it's we have rocks and a little kindling in there, so it just adds a little variation. I think it looks pretty interesting. And that's another thing, we've added this this really cool backpack. You know, it's a modern backpack. Well, it's textured like a modern backpack, so it doesn't really look like it's really old, but back in the Civil War they did have backpacks just like this. It just didn't look quite like this with the texture because it looks too new and too modernized, so I'm gonna have to do some editing with that and change it up and make it look a little bit better. So I'll just talk about how to actually get blueprints, because I don't think I've went over that yet. So blueprints in Northern Regime will actually be found in chests. This is going to create sort of like an RPG aspect to the game. I'm a super big fan of Borderlands 2. I've clocked in over like 1,000 hours, so I really enjoy games with loot and grinding for loot. So these blueprints won't be like the easiest thing to find. You might have to save and quit a few times and open the chest, you know, multiple times and hope you find those blueprints. All of these things together add some kind of sense of accomplishment. So when you actually create a rifle after all of this time, it's gonna feel really cool, and hopefully it's a unique feeling that you don't feel in most you know, survival games. So that's pretty interesting. I also want to show you guys the new menu. It looks a little bit different, like the crafting. We have some icons here, which makes it a little more visually pleasing, as well as our inventory. We have these buttons on the bottom. Before it was just an arrow on each side, but now you can click, like this is obviously the weapons, and then you have your food. We've added some new food items like chocolate bars, beans, and beef jerky that you can pick up, because since weapons and tools are going to take longer to acquire, we want to add just small food items that you can find at camps and you know, whatnot. So yeah, so this is what the new inventory looks like. I think it's a lot better. We have, you know, we have picture realistic icons now, which is, it looks a lot better than what we had before, which was just the text to the right. So yeah, that's another thing. So the final thing that I want to go over with you guys today is building. So building in Northern Regime is going to be it's going to be quite different than what you see in most survival games. Most survival games have the building system of placing down blocks, but Northern Regime, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to come up to an area like this, and there's going to be a wood foundation, and I'm sorry that it's not here now. It is in the newer build, but that kind of sucks. Whatever. And you're going to be able to build onto that foundation. So you're going to be able to add the first level of walls, and then the door frame, and then the next level, which would be the roof. And then once you've done that, you'll be able to, you know, create a bed and create a furnace and some other cool stuff like that. We're thinking about adding in generators and sawmills and cool little stuff like that will make the game a little funner. So in order to build these levels to the base structure or the base foundation, you're actually gonna have to find the blueprints as well, which will be even more challenging to get. And the blueprints won't come as just one house. You'll actually have to find each level. Some blueprints might even just be like a wall, for instance. So it's going to be interesting and a whole new dynamic to building in survival games. Let me know what you guys think about that, because, you know, I'm not really too sure. Like, I love the idea, but I'm not too sure on the reception we might get from most people. So definitely be sure to let me know what you guys think of that. So that's pretty much it for this, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. There's probably a lot more to talk about, but For time's sake, we probably should end it here. Northern Regime is launching on February the 17th, so make sure you guys keep updated with it, and hopefully we have a great launch. This will probably be the last development vlog until then, so thank you guys so much for the continued support, and I'll see you guys soon.